We're live. And good morning to everybody. Getting everything lined up here to see. Skip that. And welcome. Uh, so hello. Right now I'm talking to myself. Hopefully some other people come in and we can get started here. So far there's one person watching, me. I see. There's no other people in here. Perhaps if I put it down on the wood and have the wood slowly turning, that will help attract some people in. Good morning. I see a couple people are in here now. If you'd please let me know if you can hear my voice, that would be really helpful. Just in the comments, just write yes. That's all I need. Just go to the comments and write in yes. I would appreciate it so I can know that you are hearing me. So far, I'm not seeing anybody saying that, so don't know if you're hearing me or not. Mike says I'm on. Everything says that I'm on, so I'm going to assume that you can hear me. I'm going to set this up so I can be in the right position here. Let's see. That's slides right there. Okay. Right about there. Good. Starting to get some people in. Would somebody please go to the comment section? I see. Okay, thank you very much. McAdam, is that what that is? McAdam, 249. Thank you very much. I appreciate you answering. So I know, because sometimes when you first start out, you go, okay, is this working? Hi, Mike. Hola. How are you doing today? Hope everybody's okay. Hey, by the way, I hope nobody was near that plane crash in North Carolina this morning. Understand there was a pretty good sized plane crash that no survivors. So if there is anybody that was near that, our thoughts and prayers. But hopefully none of you were involved in any way with that. But anyway, so what I've got here this morning, and I'm going to kind of, there we go, just a little bit. This was a piece of wood that was left by a member of our local group that passed away, and his wife wanted us to get rid of all the wood that was in there, and he had a barn full of wood. So they emptied 3 pickup trucks, basically, of stuff to get this, and I got some of the pieces. And the thing is, he painted them with latex paint, so I have absolutely no idea what the wood was. I mean, you could not tell because the entire thing was in a cream-colored latex. So I didn't know what it was until I got it this morning, and I still don't know what it is. The bark came off in one solid piece. There was no way to keep it, so I couldn't do a live edge bowl. But I thought I'd go ahead and turn this just to see what it is. It does have a nice smell. I can't quite place it. Sort of like a eucalyptus or something. It's possible it might have been eucalyptus, although the outside bark did not look like eucalyptus, but it might have been part of the same family of the tree. So we're going to kind of turn this and just see what's in here, and hopefully it's a nice piece of wood, and it feels like a nice piece of wood. It feels pretty dry. I'm not sure if I can get a reading on it or not, but let me see. Yeah, for some reason I'm not getting any reading on it right now. Here we go. 12%. Good. So yeah, it's 12%. That should be just fine. There won't be a whole lot of shrinkage in this afterwards. Should turn relatively well. So okay, let's put a little light on the subject so you can kind of see what I'm doing. All right, we're going to get the outside kind of rounded out first, and then we will put a tenon in here. We're going to just make the bowl kind of curved upward because it just really didn't show any way of doing. Without knowing the wood, I didn't want to go in there and set up something wrong. So we're going to try this way first, okay? So let me get it up to speed a little bit, at least for the first round. And I know it's going to hit. Just kind of like got to get my range. And as always, we're just following the bevel, the back of the gouge is setting the angle, and I have it pointed in an upward direction for attack, but not too upwards, because you don't want to be trying to stop the turn. You want to be undercutting the wood. Now, at some point, you're going to hear something go flying off, and it's going to be this right here, because that's the leftover of the bark, and it's that little underpiece right here. It just didn't want to kind of come off as I was doing. So as I'm turning, you're going to hear something come flying off. I know you guys all like that. So give me a thumbs up. Give me a like if you could. Would appreciate that. And we'll do a little bit of a duck and cover when that hits. That means my angle is just a little bit too strong. I'll cut back on my angle a little bit. Okay. Let's see where we're at on that. Okay. We are getting round. There's a little flat spot here. We're getting pretty round. So I'm going to be able to kick up the speed a little bit now, I think. A little bit more. Now I can really get in there. This is usually when things fly off. Well, surprisingly, it did not come flying off on me. It's holding on pretty good. It's holding on right here. This part's not on, but that part is. So I think what I'm going to do is try a push cut the other direction. Let me move my rest here a little bit first. Okay. We'll try a push cut so I'm a little bit more out of the line of fire. And by golly, it held on again. That's pretty good. Ah, there it goes. Oops. Turn that off. Jammed up right in there, too. Well, there it was, and the rest caught it. Huh, now I can breathe a little bit easier. We didn't get hit by it. Right, there it is. Hope you all saw that. I'll get rid of that trash there. Now we can move on. Okay, let me. Yeah. Trying to get a little bit of that angle off of there. All right. Now we're going to have to square off this bottom a little bit. Well, not square it off so much, it's just round it off a little bit. So I'm going to come in here and take that edge off. All right. So, all right. That was fast.
Yeah.
Okay. You got your appointment? You okay? Okay. So there we are. Okay. Please, if you can, hit the like button and subscribe. We're still trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, and it'd be a nice Christmas present for us if you do that. It helps the channel quite a bit if we can get to 4,000. So please do. It doesn't cost you anything, and in fact, we're going to try and do a prize drawing once we get to 4,000. So there'll be a little after Christmas present for somebody. But you have to be a subscriber in order to win it. So please do subscribe, and do hit the like button if you would, please. I appreciate that too. Okay, I'm going to use my my scraper here just to kind of get me a flat bottom here that I can work with. And a curved bottom here. I see potential here for a shape that I'd like to go for, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it yet. So I'm kind of playing with this. Whatever wood this is, it's nice and strong. It has a little bit of a pine usage to it, but it doesn't seem like pine. I'm not sure. If anybody has any suggestions, hey Chase, how you doing? Saw you've been doing some more videos, I think. trying to get a flat spot here that I can use for my tenon. I think that's going to be a big enough spot now. Well, almost. See, I've got this here. That's my problem. So I need to get past this, or I'm not going to have anything to support the tenon. So let's see here. This is just the not so fun part of the turning, you know. But I see I've got about 6 likes or something like that in here, and we got 102 people on here. So please double tap that screen or hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. Hey Gilbert. Hi Johnny. Hi Arias transport this. Okay. Hello. But yeah, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. So anything you can do to move that along would be really appreciated. And here I'm using the back side of the skew to screw that down. I need to lower this just a hair, I think. There we go. There we are. Right now I'm using the heel. Let's see how close I'm getting to. I'm getting pretty close. Pretty close. I think I want to do just a little bit more just to be on the safe side. Well, we can see how that's going. There, now we got a pretty flat. I'm getting pretty much in there now. Oops, I'm going to switch to my other one here. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let me see if I can do this one a little bit too. These are really nice for putting that nice flat surface. You can control them. Now this is a straight angled screw, a skew. It's not a flat nose. There's bull nose. There's also the curved ones, which have a slight curve and almost like a negative rake scraper. Well, that is really nice. That feels really good. Okay, so now we're going to put our chuck on here eventually. So let's see. Yeah, I got plenty of room all the way around that. That's good. Okay, good. So I can put the tenon in and I can build up from there. Okay. Okay. This is my spindle gouge. And I know this is a little small, but I just want to see where I'm at and get to this. Not too far. Okay. Should be able to do the rest of the skew now. and take out the middle. It is really hard in there. It doesn't even want to turn. That. I have to take it on the chunk like that. I think we got our tenon. We got it really close to it. Yep, we got our tenon. That quick. Just using this to kind of take out little bit at a time really helps. And that's nice. That looks pretty darn clean. And it's right about the right depth, about 1/8 of an inch. So this is a solid but relatively heavy piece of wood. I am going to be a little bit careful with it because I'm going to go just a little bit deeper. And the reason for that is because this has very straight grain and there's not possibility for tear out as we go. So I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to do this, and one, I'm going to put a little bit of thin, very thin CA glue in there to help strengthen those fibers a little bit. So I'm going to get in here like so and just very quickly go around the edge. And that's all I need to do. I'm not going to put a lot in. I just want to get in there and just kind of strengthen those fibers a little bit with a little CA glue. Just a little tip that may help you guys. Hey, Rhinestone. So good to see some other people in here. Again, please hit the like button or subscribe. We got a lot of people in here watching, so let's make it a party today. It's getting near Christmas. We're 1 week away. There will not be a live next Thursday on Christmas. I don't plan on doing that. I might run some other videos or something, but we're not going to do a live. I want you guys to be out enjoying with your family, and I'm going to be spending time with my wife, so. We may do one on Friday, the day after. I don't know. A lot of people are out shopping, but maybe they'll be wanting to play with their new toys, and you might want to pick up a couple tips. So maybe we'll do something with some of our new toys the day after Christmas. So you can kind of look forward to that. Everyone likes to go out and share their new toys, right? Just kind of toying with this idea here, so bear with me on how I'm trying to form this. The problem I've got here is I've still got this right here that kind of comes off. So I guess I'll finish rounding this, and then we can come back to it and kind of cut into it and see where we're at. But we're pretty round now. And I think it's just a matter of shaping, but we'll see. I'm going to go in a little bit here. And then back out a little bit on the other side of that. Now, I don't know if you can see that angle, so I'm going to try and put this over it a little bit more so you can see the angle of that. Okay. There we go. And you can kind of see what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to come back in here a little bit. And a little probe. And back up. I'm not making it real severe. I want this to be a little bit wider than this down here. This, I may just have to leave it the way it is, and it's just going to be something we see and look at and just go, oh, that's interesting. Because it still has the curve pretty much that I'm looking for. So maybe I'll just leave that in. What do you think? You think, should I leave this in, guys, or should I cut this out? If I cut this out, we're going to lose a little bit more of the bowl. So I'll leave it to you guys. What do you think? I see Rhinestone, Gene, Suzanne, everybody. If you guys have any suggestions, you want me to take this out, or you want me to leave this little piece in as just a little interesting spot? Hey, Mike. Thanks, savages, including Mike. Want to leave it? Okay, it says it looks interesting. Okay, we'll leave it in. And actually, when I get some oil on that, that's really going to sharpen up and look. You're going to see that because it's the underneath of the bark, and it should stay on, so that should be no problem. Okay, well then I will just clean this up. A little scraping cut with the gouge. Got to clean that up just a little bit. I think I'll use my blow nose for that. That's just a little bit better tool for that purpose. Let me get over here. And it's just going to make it very nice. Got to kind of be really careful with it. Create a little contour. There. I'll see if I got rid of most of the markers. Yeah, I think I can sand out those. I don't know. See, the problem is when it comes around here, it bounces, and I get these lines right here with tool marks, and it's going to be interesting to see if I can get those tool marks out of there. But I do need to get them out of here. I'll try speeding up this a little bit. That might help. Problem with tool marks is usually because you went a little too fast or changed the pressure on your tool at some point. But sometimes it's just the skipping, like this right here. You hear it skipping? That skipping right there is what's causing some of the tool marks. No matter how much I try and hold it in position. Okay, let's see how that works now. All right, that's a little smoother. That's a little bit. I think I can sand that out so it looks good. Okay, so you said leave it. We're leaving it now. Another thing to contend with is we had some cracks that were just barely visible before that seem a lot more visible now around this pith area. I have a feeling some of this may come out. I think I will go ahead and try and strengthen this just a little bit before we get into that, because this wood is a little on the. There we go. I'm going to just reinforce that a little bit for now. Get some of this thin glue. Okay. And I'll check the other side here too. See here, we got these cracks also forming here. And some of that is just new. That's just the relief that I gave it because it's getting released a little bit. So these are new cracks that are forming because we're releasing the stress on that wood as we go here. So we got to be really careful. Man, a little bit of fumes too. Okay, so we're going to get that on there. Then we're going to go back with a little bit of wood glue and go into those cracks. Right in here. And right in here. and get some of this really fine stuff. Pack that on. Let it sit for just a sec and go to the other side. Do a little glue here. Put it down this crack area here. All right. And we'll put some more fine dust on that. Just kind of pack it in first. It'll go down into those little crevices a little bit. Okay. When you come back here, we're just going to kind of go across the grain, as you see me do a lot of times. But for that, like a lot of people are new people, so we don't always want to, just. Yeah, those glue fumes. When I was a kid, I really liked them on my model glue, but I made models back in the days when kids could go to the store and buy actual model glue, and then of course they realized that it was burning brain cells, and people were snorting it and stuff like that. So along come the 70s, and they said, well, you couldn't buy the glue, and then they changed the glue, and yeah, so that old modeler's glue we used to get when I was a kid. Let's just say that I have some fond memories that I still have of making models, and I associate them with certain songs on the radio, and I'm not sure if the glue had something to do with that. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. So, all right, so we got those in. That is kind of interesting, a little pimple kind of thing there. Okay, so let's see if it's drying off a little bit. All right, okay. Let me get my glue, put it away, and we will get started on this part. Okay. I kind of like having the swoop here. I think it goes well with that curve to the wood naturally. So I think that's going to be nice. This pith, he left it on the wood, so I'm going to honor him and say, well, he wanted the wood to have that, so I'm going to leave it on there for him, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I do want it to dry off just a little bit. I don't want it just coming off, pulling out, because if it pulls out, that doesn't really accomplish much. Let me go really lightly here. And we're turning at about 1,000, a little over 1,000 right now. Okay, so it's not going to fill in every hole, and that's okay. I just wanted to strengthen those up a little bit. Here, those are going to go away pretty much entirely. And I think we're nice and smooth. I think I can go ahead and start sanding. So we're going to put a few of these tools back where they belong. And we'll sand it up, and then we'll go to the inside. So this turned very well, actually. I was just being a little cautious with it because I wasn't sure what I was turning. So let's turn on this vacuum here, the dust vacuum. I want to see how this responds to a sanding. I'm making it worse or better. Well, it's working pretty good. Yeah. I'm going to have to be really careful around here, round that up, because this is kind of like brass. Like I said, it's just the other part of the bark, so it can get really fretty if I don't treat it real nice. And the treat those edges really good. around this area just a little bit. Put that glue. And this is end grain right here, so obviously end grain needs a little bit more sanding than fine grain does. I'm going to try going in reverse now too. Reverse. Okay. Now I can go back to the end grain. This is going to polish out pretty well, I think. It's a pretty hard wood. It's kind of neat little end grain. It's a really nice grain quality to it. I think it'll be fun. I can't wait to get the inside and see what happens in there. So please, while you're watching the fan, if you please hit that like button and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Operation Truth, shut up, Fit. I don't really know what you're talking about, Operation Truth, but this is not the place for conversation like that. We are talking about wood turning, not whatever you have a gripe with. So I ask you to please stick to the topic or disappear, or maybe somebody can remove him. I don't know. Let me fix that a little bit here. Suzanne, how would you like to be a moderator? You are now a standard moderator, and Chase, so are you, if you're in here. You're both added as moderators. I don't know if Mike is still in here or not. But your moderators, the moderators can go in and kind of clean things up. Thank you. There you go. My regular moderators aren't in there, so thank you very much. I appreciate that, Suzanne. Everybody give her a round of applause. You don't need, everybody's welcome in here, but let's keep to the topic if we can. I do have a little issue I got to get out here. Apparently, some of that paint got in that the guy put in here, got into this little crevice. I want to make sure that paint doesn't stay in here when I'm done. I got to get that out of here. And I'm trying to get that end grain all cleaned up. This is on the hardest part because it takes a little while to do this part, guys. So I'm sorry if some of you are leaving, but you got to sand. If you don't sand, you don't have a good finished product. So bear with me while I'm sanding, and we will get through. Okay. I tried to keep the sanding to a minimum, but I have to sand it or it's not going to be a good looking product to get. If I was doing this when I stopped during the week, I'd probably spend an hour or so just sanding, just to make sure everything looked as good as it could before I started putting any finish on it. But for these lives, I kind of cut corners a little bit because I know you don't want to sit here like watching paint dry. You know, I try to be cognizant of the fact that you guys don't want to just sit here watching the paint dry, so to speak. So. And I'm not pushing on this at all. I'm just letting it slide across the surface. Okay. Boy, that feels really nice. I'm just going to go to 240. I don't think I need to go further than that. Normally for a glossier finished surface, I'd probably go to 400 or 800, depending on the wood. But I think we can just get by with 240 here. And just really let it be nice. So, this is the last one. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I can turn this off. There, now you can hear me a little better again. I'll take my helmet off for a second. Get some of this off of me. Ah, good. Okay. So what's being? Hi, Jeff. My name is Jeff too, and it is. I'm not sure what kind of wood it is, quite honestly, because I did not harvest this wood, and it was painted with lacquer with a latex paint or an oil base. I'm not sure. Maybe it was oil based paint, but anyway, it was painted and dried in this woodworker's barn for a long time. It is dry. It's down to 12%, so it obviously was in there for at least a year. It has a faint odor, not like pine or anything. I'm not sure. Around here, it could be a number of different woods. It's not a fruit wood. It's not an oak, and it's not an olive. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's not myrtle. It's not. It's not ash. It doesn't seem to be an ash of any kind. So in fact, let me show you what the bark looked like if I can find it here. Maybe one of you can identify this. This is what it looked like. Okay. And all of this is what came off. All right. So it doesn't look like pine. It's not cedar. I mean, it could be a form of cedar. You know, it doesn't exactly smell like cedar, but it's possible it's cedar. That might be a possibility, but we don't normally turn cedar around here too much. And it's kind of, the shavings don't kind of turn like a cedar would. So I'm not sure, but that's as close as I could get to it. Is maybe it's some sort of cedar or cypress or something like that. It's not the red of the cypresses that I've done in the past. But if anybody has an idea, nice to meet you too, Jeff. If anybody has an idea, please let me know what you think that wood is, because I have no clue. Oops. And I'm also not a very good basketball player, apparently, because I can't hit the trash can. But okay, well, we got it sanded. So let me get a little bit of finish on here so you can see what this is going to look like. Okay, and I think it's going to look pretty nice. This is not going to change the color too much. It's just going to kind of wet the wood, so to speak. But it will soak this in, give it kind of a nice tinge. What do you think? That's what this tung oil will do. We'll get over that bark area and see what it does to that. Now, if I was doing this in my shop, I would probably do this Let it sit for about 20-30 minutes. Wipe off any excess. Maybe do it again, a couple coats, 2-3 coats. And then when I was done with the coats, I would and it had dried for maybe an hour or so, or maybe 2 hours. I would go back and maybe very lightly sand it again, and I might even let it sit for the entire day, so that it gets a chance for this to dry inside the fibers of the wood, and really provide some protection. But we don't have that kind of waiting time here, so I will not be doing that today. So, but if that would be my suggestion to those of you, if you're trying to emulate anything you see here, is give it some time, give the stuff chance to work and do what it does. It's sort of like if you spray a cleaner on and then wipe it right there 2 seconds later, it's not getting a chance to break down the grease so you can clean things better. If you want to use a cleaner properly, you usually have to leave it on for about 10 seconds before doing anything, so that it it says it's likely from a cottonwood tree. Okay, well, we do have cottonwood around here. I've never turned cottonwood, I believe anyway, but it is very pretty, huh? But thank you. If AI says it, it must be true, because we all know how AI never lies, right? Except when I asked AI a question and then I rephrased the question, I got 2 completely different answers from AI the other night. So, take that for what it's worth. AI only spouts whatever it sees on other things. It's constantly quoting what other people have written, and it's not exactly doing a lot of analysis of what it's bringing up. In fact, a lot of times what AI does is it'll search for, maybe say, let's say 100 articles, and if 75% of the articles says one thing, it will say, well, this is the most common thing. However, there are some people who have this other opinion, but it will lean towards the 75. So it's basically a majority rules kind of program. It doesn't do any analysis of what if the 75 sites that it checked on were not of the same authoritarian state as the 25 that were maybe of a more scholarly nature. So you uploaded the picture, huh? Okay, of the bark. Okay, well, then we'll say it's cottonwood. I can go with that. Thank you very much. For the rest of you that are on here, please do hit that like button. I see we're up to like 36. We should be up to like 100 by now. So if you can hit the like button or subscribe, that would really help the channel a lot. But so what do you think? This is the outside. We're going to let me vacuum this up just a little bit so I don't get stuff on the wood, and we'll come on. There we go. Vacuum this up a little bit. I like to keep my work area somewhat clean. It's not pristine clean. At least it's clean, somewhat clean. The other day I cleaned all this up, and then I got to the inside, and I was trying, and I didn't have any shavings to use to fill in a crack because I'd taken all the shavings up. So, sometimes you want to leave yourself a little pile just in case. If you're unfamiliar with this, this is my somewhat silent dust collection or vacuum cleaning system. It runs off of a regular shop vac, and when you check the shop vac, it's running at about 90 plus decibels. But in my shop here, this is running at about 60 decibels. We knocked 30 of them off by putting a chamber in the back of a box that my unit is in. And what it does is that sound chamber blocks or breaks the sound levels up so that So when the sound comes out the other end, the signals are broken up, and you don't get that high-pitched whining sound that you normally get from a shop vac. It's been very, very successful. You can break up sound waves just by basically having odd pieces of wood and having the sound waves go over the pieces of wood at different angles, so you don't have a straight approach to the outside, and that's what breaks it up. So let me turn this off. Okay. If you want to see what the contraption looks like, I'll show you here a little bit better picture. But as you can see, it's just the shop vac is down in the bottom part here, and then I have a bucket that goes through here. And what happens is the material comes in up here, goes through the little tornado situation, or dust deputy in this case, and all the particles fall into the bucket, and the air without anything in it goes through here down the side and goes into the side of the box right there, and it goes right into the shop vac. And in the back side of it, which is back here, on the back side of it is a chamber that breaks up all the sound before the air comes back out. So it creates a pretty good situation. I lose none of the power, but I have a shop vac that I can actually keep talking while it's on. So that's how a suppressor works exactly. Very good point. Yeah, it's a baffle of sorts. That's exactly what it is. It's a baffle. Yeah, I know the AI. You were talking about the Gemini and others. They are smart, but I've done legal work for many years, and I found that as smart as AI is, you still better do the research on your own, because sometimes it's in the small details. It's sort of like getting the highlights, but not getting the details. And the details are what matter, especially when you're dealing with labor law, which was my specialty. And I spent a lot of time protecting employers and employees from time to time too, because people don't always understand labor laws, especially from state to state. They do vary, and I had to be cognizant of 15 or 16 different states, plus the federal labor laws. So while the computer is a very important tool in that, very important tool for my research, I felt that I needed to do my own research a lot of times in order to get the best results. Now, that's not to say it's not going to continue getting better and better. It will. And it's going to replace more and more people. It will. And pretty soon there won't be a need for workers, which is going to happen. And then what are we going to do? Because it's already happening, folks. The devil is in the details. You're absolutely right. But I can foresee a time when robots could basically adjudicate most of a case just based off of what the law says, and be very non-emotional, and just base it on the facts at hand. And that's going to put a lot of people in a real scary situation, if you ask me. But I see it happening too. We've read about it in literature for about 100 years, but we just ignored it. It's sort of like they say, you invent it and then stand back because you don't know what you're getting into. And I think we've done that ourselves a little bit. Like, we have CNC machines that do a really great job of recreating art. They can recreate the Mona Lisa with a CNC machine or with lasers. But you know what's missing is the heart of the artistry of the person who created that. And that's where we got to keep the humanity in things like art. In my humble opinion, but I don't want to get in that whole situation. So Let's see what we got here. It's a little tiny bit off center, but I think it's going to be okay. Let's see. How far off am I? You can see here. That gives me kind of a clue. Okay, it's very minimal. I think we'll be fine. I'm just kind of taking off a little bit of a high parts there. That's the paint. This is the paint color that he had on there. So I'm kind of stuck with that paint color for there. And I don't want to be breathing it in. Because Lord knows it could be lead paint for all I know. I'm sure he was not using top quality paint. Because who would waste top quality paint on this, right? But the reason you put paint on the wood, in case you didn't know, the reason you put the paint on the wood is to retard the loss of water so that the piece of wood doesn't crack while it's drying out. And when you put and normally you only need to put it on the ends, like here and on here, because that's where most of your water is going to come out, is where the pith area was, or the end grain. That's where most of your water is going to come out. There's going to be some that'll come out here, most will come out here. And if you've got curiosity about that, I've done some other videos where I actually turned wood that was green and allowed it to warp, and it turned into a nice, beautiful oval bowl. In fact, we did one of those back in October. If you want to go back and look at one of my videos of that, we did a cypress bowl, and I brought it back a couple times after that in like early November, so you could see how it had worked, and it really looked kind of cool. And now my wife won't let me sell it, so I think it's going to be a permanent part of our bowls in the house. Okay, so I just want to see what this looks like now. Okay, it's very straight. It is like the pine or cedar where it's very straight. It's but if it's cottonwood, that's fine too. But it's just saying it has a very straight grain to it. I want to get this down below the paint line and get it straightened out. Yeah, see, it's still a little bit right there. Let me get my I use a scraper here to do it. And I'll pick up speed. Okay, I think that's going to get it. No, it's still right there. That's just lower than everything else for some reason. Okay, well then, we'll get something like this. That should do it. Huh, man, it just doesn't want to. It just keeps going down. Okay, well, fine. Well, I don't want to get aggressive on it. But if we have to clean it out like this, Did I get over there? Almost. See, I still got a little bit of paint showing right. That's what I was worried about when it said it got underneath that one crack. Okay. I think I'll be able to get past that when I get some other stuff here done. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. All right, so let's establish our edge for now. Should be right about in here somewhere. Turning. By golly, that's some flying wood there, isn't it? I might have to sharpen my tool here. I think I might need to sharpen here just a little bit. So let me go over to my sharpener and we'll check it for make it sure it's 2 inches. Don't know if you can see me there. And we'll turn on the sharpener, or the grinder, I should say. And load it this way. And a little on this side. And that's all we need. We have a nice new beveled edge. Okay. Let's see what we can do now. I think I want to do this in 2 pieces here, not one stroke across. I'm hearing something go click, click, click. So I'm beginning to think there might be something to see here. So I'm going to turn this off for a second just to look. It sounded like I was going through a crack or something. Well, there's the holes where I did where the faceplate was in, so that's probably what I was hitting. But I also see some little wormholes apparently in here. See there? That I wasn't aware of. So as we come across, you want to listen to the wood, like I've always said. You listen to the wood, and it will tell you when things are changing. That's a lot of wood chips flying out there. I don't like to take off too much at one stroke. I see something else forming here. Ah, see? This is right where the pith is. It's right in line where the pith of the wood is. So that's what we're going to be encountering here too. So we got to be really careful you don't grab something. So I'm going to give it just a very thin profile. I'm not going to come in like, if I came in like this, it would probably grab that and come flying off the truck. If we can just kind of get underneath it from here, I think we'll be okay. So we need to go at a very sharp angle so as not to catch anything. If you don't mind, oh man, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to. What do I do with all the shavings? Well, I have no idea whether Gemini was right or yeah. Well, ask Gemini what it thinks of Rachel Ziegler, and it'll give you a whole bunch of different opinions. There's one. The girl that played Snow White. What do I do with all my shavings? Well, a lot of times my shavings. Well, I'll do three things with my shavings. One, I put them in a bag, and I'll put my wet bowls that I'm wanting to continue to dry. I'll put them in the paper bag with these shavings. The shavings help absorb some of the moisture. The second thing I do is I throw it out in my yard. I've got a pretty good sized yard out here. In the yard, you can always use my fruit trees can always use the extra nutrients and so forth. You got to be careful though because you don't want to be putting any kind of a wood that could poison the ground a little bit or get into the fruit that you're eating. So you got to be really careful of what kind you're using. And then some of it goes to the to our waste disposal, but our waste disposal has a composting bin. So it'll go to the compost for the city, and I'm sure it becomes it becomes compost that the city actually gives away or sells back to the citizens here. So that's what it goes. It doesn't go into like making a Presto log or anything. Some shavings you could probably use as cat litter. People have used the cedar shavings and things like that for a long time. For hamsters and other little ground animals. Let's see. And we're mostly getting below that now. The pith is right here. We're mostly getting below that now. The good part about this piece of wood over a lot of the pieces of wood I turned, there's no side branches coming into it or anything, so I don't anticipate anything coming into it other than maybe a wormhole or something that I wasn't aware of. Other than that, it should be pretty clear wood for the most part through the rest of the time. However, it does seem to be kind of rough on my gouge. My gouge is not maintaining its edge very well, so it feels sharp. I don't know. What do you think of that? Yeah, the great now. See that we're getting cracks in here, and I'm not quite sure why. Okay. But we are getting cracks in there. So I have to keep maintaining a very sharp angle on this. And by sharp angle, I mean if I'm turning like this, it's going to come around and it's going to catch right there. It's going to catch that crack. If I come across it like this, then all it's doing is it's just, you see there? It's not really catching that, and it's not going to come flying off. So that's why I have to come in at that angle. And I don't want to get into I don't want to get into physics or anything, but as you can see, if this is spinning at say 1,000 RPM, this is spinning at 1,000 RPM too, but it's spinning much slower because it takes. Look how long this is going to travel all this way to get around once. This is only going to travel that little bit to get around once. So in relative speed, this has more velocity and more torque than it does in the middle. So the middle tends to be a little bit more stable. Plus, I'm pushing into the chuck. When I'm out here, I'm pushing. If I'm doing this, I'm pushing away from the chuck. I'm pulling it out of the chuck, and so there's different pieces of physics going on here. You have to change your angle when you get to the middle. You want to have this opening almost completely turned at 90 degrees when you get to the center. I just want to make sure I'm not keep getting past those little cracks. So yeah, we just keep kind of working it out, in and out, back and forth. So, yes, it has a lot more potential to apply more torque back. Yes, you're right. The other side is moving much faster because of more distance. That's right. Exactly, Jeff. So, and hey, big dog. Yeah, Jeff, you're absolutely right. That's how it works, and you got to be careful. You got to be cognizant of it because you got to change your speed that you're applying the tool. You want to give it more time here to cut. And see, this is really cracking in here. It's not. There's no crack on the outside necessarily. I mean, I'm hoping this isn't going to crack in half. But we'll see. I mean, and of course, like always, as I'm doing this, I'm looking at this side here to see what's going on over here. I can't really see in here without sticking my head in the bowl, but I can see exactly what's turning away over on the other side. So, Big Dog, welcome in. I'm glad you can join us. And hope everything's okay in your part of the world. I'm starting to get to the lower half of the bowl now. Yeah, I know you've been really busy, but that's good. Busy is good. That means money's coming in for the family, for you, and the shop. So busy's better than not busy. Please, if you're watching this, though, please do hit the like button. Please subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Um, it really helps us, and it doesn't cost you a thing to do it. The likes tell the algorithm for YouTube that well, between the likes and comments, it tells the algorithm that it is a video worth pushing in their algorithm. So when you do comments, well, we were debating. I was debating that whether that crack is all the way through. Some cracks here. I treated some cracks here, which you really can't see. It doesn't run up the sides. I'm hoping that it goes away once we get past the lower part here, but does it? It might go all the way through, and if it does, well, we're just going to have to deal with it. We may end up with two half bowls. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Let's take a little look. Yep, that crack is still there. It's not in the bottom, so it's got to end at some point. So we're gonna just hope that we keep digging and digging, and we'll get to the point where it's gone. accidentally snag it. If I do, that could be all she wrote. So. See, it's not running up the sides here. It's stopping right about here, as far as I can tell. But it's still pretty deep in there. It's got to go down at least another inch or two. And I'm going to try using my scraper here for just a minute. I just want to kind of get this both sides cleaned up, and I hope I don't make a problem when I do that. I want to keep refining as you go, so you don't have to go back and do it all at once. See, I still got that paint right there, and a little rough spot. But you can see the wood starting to look really nice. Now, I can't smooth out the bottom with this. Usually this is my tool for when I'm getting near the bottom, not right. I just wanted to see how it turned with it. Okay. Yeah, it makes for a nice smooth bottom, but I got to get back to using my. I wonder if I haven't used one yet today. I wonder how the carbide would work, or is it going to become more of a problem? And it's very possible it might be more of a problem because carbides can be kind of aggressive. I turn like this. So I got to kind of keep it angled. I do kind of want to carve out this bottom part out a little bit more. Yeah, we still got the crack. And it does come up the side here just a little bit. Yeah, I do have concerns. I won't kid you. I do have concerns, but that's another reason why we glued this part here. You may think it's getting thinner, but here it's pretty thick, and it's coming up the sides just a little bit. So I don't want to go out. I don't want to make this too thin of an edge bowl. I don't think. It's not right until I get more information from the wood. See, a carbide is nothing more than a small scraper. That's all this is. banging on it. You can really hear that. Hear that rattling? Yeah, it's rattling right here. Yeah, crack is still going right across. How much I got to dig out? Probably another, about this much, about another inch or so. So I'm going to go for it. I mean, there's no crack in the bottom. It's just side to side. So I have to assume that eventually you get underneath this. But if I don't, okay. And as an added thing, because I have a curve like this on the top, I want to curve the inside too. So I need this to go back in a little bit on the bottom. I can't have it just come straight down. So yeah, we're just gonna keep going at it. I mean, what can I do, right? We want to keep the speed up. You can really feel the flutter just going across that crack. It looks like it's kind of dying out on the edges here. So yeah, let's go back to this for a minute and see what we can do. I'm trying not to get mesmerized by this, because as you're doing it, you can start getting mesmerized, and then you start digging too much. And that's not a good thing either. So, I got to be really careful how I do that. Okay. My speed I'm at, well, it's roughly 1,000. And I could go up more, but I really don't want this thing flying off at like 1,500 or 2,000. So, let's do with it. I want to kind of keep that under. It looks like I might be getting underneath it a little bit. So, cross your fingers, guys. We're coming in on the home stretch. to get a lot of stuff in there, so I need to kind of get cleaned up. Let's see. This still looks deep, but this looks like we're kind of getting past it. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, right? We're going to try and see if we can't get this. So. We think it's going to go away, right? We're hoping it's going to go away. Now I'm going to try the gouge again. Move my angle here a little bit. I am kind of out away from this here, although I don't like being out that far in the tool rest. And I probably should change my tool rest. And I say probably because I probably won't. Let's just see what that did. See, it's still there even when I go down that deep. If I go down another, well, at least 1/8 of an inch, and it's still there. So it's not going away anytime soon. But it also hasn't gotten any bigger. So I guess we can be happy about that. It's still staying on the side here. It's a little bit disappearing on this side. Still the same big hole here. But I don't see any indication on the bottom here of the crack. So I got to think it stops at some point, right? Okay, Rhinestone set. Susie, we'll let you go do that little break, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, maybe we'll be finishing up when you get back. So, thanks for all your help today, Susie. I appreciate it. For the rest of you, please hit that like button. Or even better yet, subscribe. We still want to get to that 4,000. We haven't even hit 100 likes. We've been on for what, an hour and a half. We had several thousand people in and out of here. It'd be nice to have some more subscribers. And if you don't like what I'm doing, that's fine. But if you're being entertained and you're enjoying this, I'd appreciate the like because it does help me. It's not for a personal thing so much as it does help the channel. And by the way, this is number 200. This is my 200th video that I put up, and I put those up in less than 6 months. I put up 200 videos. So if you go back to my channel, you'll see that there's a lot of videos on there and all sorts of explanations on how to do things. And I think that you'd really enjoy some of them. Not just the lives, but go back and look at the shorts from about 3-4 months ago. Look at some of the lives that I did 3 or 4 months ago when I was doing mostly just very short videos on tool usage and so forth, and some real basics. So if you want to kind of see where the channel started from, and pick up some good information. That's a good place to pick up some really good information. And it's all free of charge. There's no member fee. You don't have to know a special handshake or anything. It's just what it is. Hey, now let's see what we got. Well, we still got a crack. It's not looking quite as wide, but it's still a crack there. I don't know what's going on, but it just doesn't want to go. Does not want to go away. Uh, Pull out the paper here. Really need to get this done. I want to make sure that my side's going good. I'm going to do a bottom check here in just a minute. Just to see where I'm at. I'm going to do that. I'm going to fix that right there a little bit. That's too abrupt right there. Make that curve in a little. I can't go much thinner here because I'm really up against this. If I go much thinner here, I'm going to come right through this part here. So see this right there. So I can't do that. So I'm going to try and let's see, where am I at? Get my feeler gauge here just a second. Let's see where we're at. We are about 1 inch from the bottom, but when you take into account the mitered edge, probably about there. We're probably about this far from the bottom, right there. So I can go a little deeper. That may get us past the crack. I don't know. I have to see. I do need to make sure I maintain everything along the way. So I have to make sure that I clean this up. Across through the carbide for now. It's not really supported. think I'm going to have to change my tool rest. I didn't want to have to, but I'm going to have to here. It's just too deep to do it this way. We'll take this off of here. Take that off. And I think we'll probably have to use this one. Let's see how close I am to be. Okay, I need to be up. That's not perfect. Okay. Get myself in position here. Now I got a little bit of support. I can come around this this corner a little bit better. So. Oh, it's starting to go away a little bit. What do you think? It's starting to go away just a little bit. That's a good thing, right? Loving the color there, yeah. Well, when we get some finish on there, it's going to look a lot better too. I just really love to get past it. That crack has been running all the way through the middle of this. I have to get this out of here so I can make sure that it's. Now see, I've got to go back in a little bit deeper again. See, it's starting to go away. Yay! Slow but steady, right? We've had this crack through the entire turn just about. Now we're finally getting it to go away. Here. I just hope I have enough wood to make it go away. See, it's disappearing. Disappearing. We are getting, we are getting down there. So that's really kind of thin there. So I don't want to do too much more on that. So I'm going to have to kind of curve my go in a little bit here on the bottom. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Well, I may not be able to get to the very bottom of that without compromising the integrity of the bowl, but let's see what I can do here with the scraper. Let's smooth things out a little bit. Okay, let's see. Boy, it is almost completely gone. I'll see if I can get the rest of that out of there. Okay. Well, I think I can fix the rest of that with just a little tiny bit of glue and some sanding because I don't know if I can go any deeper. What do you think, guys? I'd like your opinion, but I think we pretty much done the whole crowd here. Okay. think, I think I'm going to end it at that. As as far as the turning part goes, because well, let me double check myself here before I say anything. But it feels like I'm getting pretty darn down in there. My gauge. Yeah, I'm down within a quarter, a little over a quarter inch from the bottom. So once you figure in the miter, there's not much room left in there. I don't want to go through and have a peekaboo bowl at this point after all that work. So what we will do is we'll put our implements of destruction out of the way. There we go. And our scraper. It's got a pretty nice scraped finish on it that I did here, so that part I'm not too worried about. And I think what we'll do is we're going to take this off of here. For a second. We're going to leave it on the chuck, but I want to just get a little bit of glue working in the bottom of that, and then we'll put some finish in there. I just want to kind of seal that off a little bit. We don't have any trouble in the future. I wouldn't want to sell this to somebody and then have it come back and say, oh, my bowl cracked in half when I got it home. That would not make me happy, and it wouldn't sure would make them happy after they bought it. So let's deal with the situation now, right? While we can. You like that color of the wood, though, right? So let's see where we can go with this. Okay, I'm gonna put some little shavings in there. Gonna work around in there a little bit. It does have some pretty wood in there, you can see. I'm just gonna throw some shavings in there, let it punch it down in there. Make sure it really gets into all those crevices a little bit. There we go. And then we'll kind of rub that off. Rub this off. And of course, it's going to get sanded here too, so that'll come off in the sanding too. You know, something I only checked once on this was the fit. It never came off. That was a really good hold. Good. All right. Good. All right. So now we're going to try and okay. Hey, Carrie. So, what do you guys think? Hey, Edward. You guys happy with the final product? I think you guys made a pretty good decision telling me to keep that outside piece on. Now we'll see what it does to the inside. Yeah. I want to get that paint off of there. It's still bothering me. Also, I got a little divot in here for some reason. These little tiny wormholes and stuff that show up, they really do kind of pop up at the end, you know, and they're always kind of a little bit of a problem when you're trying to finish a bowl. I'm going to turn this on kind of slow. Last thing I want to do is screw something up now. I don't need it to be real fast here. Get in there and start sanding out the cross area. I always like to angle the rim in just a little bit because it gives it a little more look of being a little bit thinner than it actually is. Boy, that's really hard. For those of you that are in the United States, you have the Rams or the Seattle Seahawks tonight. It's going to be a pretty good football game for Thursday Night Football. So you got Rams or Seahawks? I'd like to know. I'm gonna fix this. That just bugs me. Use a little wood putty. A little bit of this wood in here at the same time. Mix them together. Come back to that in just a minute. Sometimes just a tiny bit of wood putty will fix that. Sometimes it won't, so you gotta see what's gonna happen. First backwards, run backwards, down in here, center, and up side. Okay. And that crack has really disappeared basically. Okay. I'm gonna go another grit. We'll speed it up in here just a little bit. Okay. It's really looking nice now. Okay. We'll go to the next one. And I think this will be the final sanding. This time I speed it up a little bit more. Okay. All right, let's see how this comes out. I'm anxious to see it too, and I know there's only a few of you left in here, but I'd like to see how this ends up now. Come this far. We're gonna put some finish in here. There we are. There's the inside. We'll go over the outside again too. You can get a complete kind of look of what it looks like when it's all finished off here. Okay. Like that. Doing the inside, we're going to let that just kind of soak in for a couple minutes before we wipe it out. No, I was told it's apparently, according to somebody did a little AI search for me, Jeff, I think it was, and he says that it is cottonwood. So this is a cottonwood. I have no way of knowing at first, but we did an analysis of the bark and said it was cottonwood, and that makes some sense. We do have a lot of cottonwood around here. But see if I can bring this down just a little bit. You can look fine. What do you think? That look pretty good. I think it's gonna be a nice end up being a nice real bowl. And it was a kind of a challenge, especially with all that crack that ran through the whole thing. We managed to make the crack mostly go away. I probably will, after I wipe this out, I probably will let this sit for a couple days and harden, and then I might go back and do another sanding on it. That's why I like having the interior mitered tenon, because I can just slap it right back on the chuck, and I can go back to work sanding it and clearing it out. But I want to give it a couple days to kind of just harden with what's on here, and then we'll go with that. But I think that's what uh, that's what I often do. You go back and you kind of refinish it a little bit more after the fact, because obviously this in an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're not going to make a bowl and finish it perfectly for all time. Basically, you're going to want to give it a chance to mellow out a little bit. It's kind of puddling here a little bit on the outside, so it's not sucking up very much, which is good. I can go back over this with a lacquer spray. I could go over this with shellac. I could just leave it with this. I could do some bee wax, which is maybe what I'll do with this one. I think maybe a little buffing out with beeswax might be a really good thing to do, or carnauba wax. There's a lot of different things you can do. And I didn't expect this to absorb a lot of this oil. I just wanted it to kind of soak it in a little bit. And again, this is just the first coat on the inside here. It's not like I gave it 2 or 3 coatings. The nice thing about tung oil is it's natural. I mix it with limonene, which is a citrus oil, basically, and that's all, which is also a cleaner. But it gives it a nice aroma, and yeah. This is our bowl. So here's the outside of it. Has a nice sheen to it. I'll try and get it over in the picture a little better. This is the bowl. It's the bottom of the bowl. This is what we were holding it on with, and that is pretty shallow there. I didn't have a whole lot more room to go. So I had to stop it where I stopped it. But you can see the outside here. I still got a little tiny bit of that latex paint, which I'm going to have to go back and sand off. It just bugged me. I don't know how it got in there, but it's really in deep, and they just will not come out. So when he painted this, he really got it in there good. Anyway, I like the shape of the bowl. I think that's a nice little curve to it. It's a nice utility bowl. You can use this for a lot of things. You can put fruit or nuts or flowers. You can do all sorts of things with this. So I think it's a real useful bowl. And yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate you guys being here today and watching this. Hopefully, you've hit the like button. I see about 58 likes on here, which is kind of disappointing for an hour and a half, but it's what it is. Um, I sorry, for a little over 2 hours. We just passed 2 hours a few minutes ago, but it is what it is, and I appreciate those of you that stuck with me. And Chase, if you want to come back and take a look at some of what I did earlier, uh, dealing with some of the cracks and all, it's always a good lesson learned if you didn't get a chance to see that. Again, I hope nobody is involved with that plane crash in North Carolina. That sounded pretty bad. And I hope none of you have relatives or anybody on that plane. It was a private plane, so it would be probably just people that were in that business. But at any rate, okay. Well, I thank you all for being here, and yeah, we know it was owned by a retired NASCAR driver. We don't know if he was in the car or not, unless there's been some updates or in the plane. I'm sorry, we don't know if he's been in the plane, but it was owned by a retired NASCAR driver. It could have been him. It could have been some of his old crew. It could have been somebody who borrowed it. So I don't really know unless there's been more news that I haven't seen in the last 2 hours while I've been doing this. But at any rate, you all have a really nice. Oh, so Greg Biffle and his wife were on the plane. Well, that's certainly sad. If you're a NASCAR fan, you know that name well. So I'm really sad for that. For the rest of you, I hope that you have a real good holiday season. I don't know if I'll be doing any more lives before Christmas, and if you don't see me again, then have a great Christmas. If I do get back on, if you're subscribed, you will know that I'm going to be back on again. So that would give you the hint that I'm going to do a live. Sometimes I don't know until the next day that I'm going to do one. I probably will do one instead of on Christmas. I might want to do one the day after Christmas. We'll talk about some of our new toys that we got for the wood shop. So, maybe something you got. Good day for us to all kind of get in and share. And I'll probably turn something. Maybe this piece of oak burl that I have here, or I have its bigger brother here also somewhere. About slightly bigger brother, I should say. Um, these are both kind of interesting to me. They got lots of really interesting grain because it is burl. There's also a lot of voids in here, so as you're turning, you don't know if all of a sudden you're going to just hit this pocket of nothingness. We did one of those the other day, if you remember, if you were here, or if you didn't, you should go back and look at that one. That was kind of interesting. I may even do a glue up and maybe try and put these two together or something. I don't know. Maybe we do a glue up of these two pieces of the same piece of wood, and I kind of hate to do that on here though. But we'll see what we do. But anyway, we'll do something next week, and I hope you all be there. And we will talk to you all soon. Thank you all for coming in, and you have a great weekend and a great holiday. Thank you.